These are our notes about atoms that we are learning about today. And so yesterday we looked at the periodic table. Let me pull that back up. And so here's the periodic table of elements. And we said that matter is made out of atoms, and all of these different elements are atoms. They just have different subatomic particles. And so let's look at what atoms are and what they're made of. So here is a model of an atom, and there are 3 subatomic particles, and so I'm going to write that right on the side. Subatomic particles. And so these 3 things, electrons, protons, and neutrons, they are subatomic particles. And so that just means below atomic, so that's what atoms are made of. And so the first one are electrons. And so I'm going to shade in this, and color this blue. And the electrons are these things out here. They have a negative charge. Specifically, each one electron has a charge of -1. Then the next part are protons. So we're going to make those red. And all of these circles with the plus sign, those represent the protons of the atom. And so here's our key, so that's protons. And then there's one last subatomic particle, neutrons. I'm coloring those yellow. And those are these circles with nothing in them. And I forgot to write up here, so electrons have a -1 charge. Protons, pro, have a +1 charge. And then neutrons are neutral, and they have a charge of 0. So the center of our atom, that's the nucleus, and I'm going to switch these up. I'm going to do yellow, red, this. And that's the center part. And that's called the nucleus, and it is made up of protons and neutrons. Back to my key, I forgot to color in here, so neutrons are yellow, and the nucleus is both. And those are the 3 subatomic particles. These 2 together are in the center of the atom, and that we call the nucleus of the atom. And then the electrons are out in this, like the electron cloud. And so atoms that have lots of electrons are going to just have them out further and further. And so this would be an atom of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 protons. And so if we look at our periodic table, the number on the top, that tells us the number of protons. So this would be 5. This one has 6. So this is a carbon atom. So that's what we're looking at here, is a carbon atom. Here they give us an example of a lithium atom. And so our protons, there are 3. We have 3 electrons. And this one actually has 1, 2, 3, 4 neutrons. And so how we know that this is lithium, because it has that 3 protons, and if we look at which element has the number 3, you can see this 3 right here, that is a lithium ion, or not an ion. Well, this is a lithium ion. But as long as it has 3 protons, that would be a lithium element. And something else we'll talk about today is how to read the periodic table. And so in most periodic tables, there are 3 pieces of information in each box. So this top number is called the atomic number, and it's the number of protons, which is the same as the number of electrons. the way it's worded makes it sound like it's protons and neutrons like together is that number, but it's not. So for carbon, there are 6 protons and 6 electrons. So this tells us how many protons are in that element, of one atom of that element. The next 2, that is the chemical symbol, it's a 1 or 2 letter abbreviation. So carbons is pretty easy, it's just a C, but some of them, like K, that's potassium. So not all of them are shortened abbreviations of them. And then the last bit of information, this right here, this 12.01 says number 3, that is the atomic mass. So that's the average mass of that one atom. And it's an AMU, that's the unit. And so if you know what those 3 pieces of information are, you can tell how many protons and electrons each atom of that element has. And we just look back to this to remember the parts of an atom. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know.